From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production. From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop CBB PrimeTime. Feeling great. Man, just another sports day, and it's days left to go in the year. And man, it's a year. But let's go ahead and jump into our first topic, and that's going to be a question. That's my biggest question right now. Can they go ahead and push this NFL universe and actually make the Super Bowl? Well, be the hottest team going into the playoffs. They have Indianapolis, the Rams have a combined record of 12, 29, and run through this group right here. And two of these games, though, are on the road. First day of the year on Sunday. They'll be playing the Rams of the season with the Chargers. So they're looking really good right now. San Diego should be in. Now, the team that does have trouble is going to be the 6th seed. I think by the time we get to the actual, because you don't know exactly what the Ravens are going to do here in the last few weeks. Definitely know he'll be back for these last two games of the season versus Pittsburgh and forward. They are probably a cinch to get into the playoffs because really they only need two more wins as well to just go ahead and solidify that they'll be there. Because they had to play against their division after they played Green Bay. Smashed them by a ton to start the season on. Really focused on the Bills, the Chiefs, and in AFC this year is going to be the Chargers. And I know that I dogged the Chargers teams be making a move, I really truly know about these teams making a move. I've given you something on the Chargers, I didn't fail you. So I truly do think that if you're a situation to make the Super Bowl, not win the Super Bowl, but to three teams, I think the Chargers are the best team after the big three that you have. Up would say, hey, the Bengals, and if they line it up with Tennessee, who's right now the team that would be not even really focused on winning games anymore, but I know that they want to get to the playoff. But this team might have already given up, and they have Jacksonville, who said, oh, they're in a situation where they're gonna have to start winning because now, and when you look at the schedule for what happened, it's probably gonna see in Jacksonville. So we'll see how that one shapes up and shakes out. But right, yeah, and it was crazy because you feel like Tennessee only had to. So they're kind of in a conundrum now, and they do have that. Um, where's Jacksonville at on their schedule? And Tennessee did get beat by Jacksonville as well too. That win is actually their Chargers. They can be a team that can make to it. The guy is beyond focused right now, and I think that lining up correctly for the LA Chargers. So we move forward. A quick second because I am dealing with the kind of a slow computer right now, but we'll make it through. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about Carlos Correa and what he just did. Carlos Correa fails physical with Giants, signs with Mets shortly after. Was it pre-planned? Possibly. It's Scott Boras who's in the house, but the thing is, though, the ownership did not like what they with Correa, and they weren't in the market to give up years for a guy who they feel is damaged goods. So waiting in the wings, and I think that was almost like they always make some significant deals together and all that stuff, but he always has pretty much went ahead and it didn't go through with the Giants and pretty much went ahead and signed him. This sounds a lot like when Drew Brees was about what he saw on the medical, and they didn't make the history. So I think that's not the same scenario because I do truly agent. He is literally just because they had a quick lockout of getting that big contract, and everybody was rumoring him to the Yankees, but was chasing the playoffs and everything at that moment. But what happened to the Twins was they fell things like that. And Correa was still a good player there. He still was an all-star. So now he goes to New York City. Now he's in a whole different league. He's in the Giants have something in common now. They both can hate Carlos Correa. When the Astros, Dodger fans, I mean, are still having been to the Dodgers after they won that championship as well, to the next year when they were accused of cheating. Sweet situation for those arch rivals. But I think all in all, the free agency pool, when you look at the names of players that they do have. Now, but grabbing Justin Verlander was huge. They used to have with because these guys are older, but the wisdom that they former teammates in Detroit. So that works out because for. And then Correa is seen as a guy who can lead this group. And then you add in this team is going to be a team that you're going to have to deal with in the NL East. I think this team can actually hold that lead, and then team literally fell apart there in the final month. They didn't fall apart, but things just didn't, and they just could never get out of it. So I think when it all comes down, Ford have themselves a great season. The Dodgers Mets was going to be the best championship series that we could get in with the Padres and the Phillies. So hopefully this year everything works out the right way because that's better for TV. And I know baseball wants to be back being the darling of TV in the fall time. So there it is. There it is. We move forward and let's go ahead and talk about the CBB Top 25. And CBB Top 25 has some new faces that, but now we have UConn as the number 2 team in the nation now. This AP poll, you look at it and you say it's just the start of the season, and they've won good games, but really why they have one of they have some of the most losses in UCLA this weekend on both ends of the floor. And then you look at this, you got 3 Big Ten teams that are this is a very there are no Big Ten teams that are in the top 10 as of now. Purdue, who's number 1. Then you have Connecticut, who's number 2. Oh, number 3. But that's because they lost to Alabama in that game. number 4 going into the game last week before they got beat by Gonzaga. Kansas is still the best team in the nation because they did lose to Utah in convincing fashion. And I think that Texas was still good enough to be a top 5 team. Also, and Kansas is actually ranked higher than them. Alabama is right where they need to be at. They do have did move up 3 spots. They're sitting in the 13 hole. And then you have Baylor, who's 3 right now, but Gonzaga has 3 losses to ranked teams. So it's understandable. Only 1 and 2 against these. They're 1 and 3 against top 25. 2 and 3 now. They got one more cherry pick game next week against Eastern Conference for the year. But Tennessee and Arkansas 8 through 10 here. That top 10 as we speak right now. Then you have the Big 12 with 2, and then Kansas is the only big is the set is there's 2 big ACC team in the top 10 because usually you'll have Duke or Carolina State who just dropped the game yesterday, losing to Drake. One to Wake Forest. Miami is going to move up as well too. They got a good win. Move up as well too this week. They're sitting at 21-20 in the top 25 right now. And then you do have TCU who's 9-1 right now. 25 team. Arizona State barely creeps into the top 20. Got 3 coming out the Pac-12, which should be a little bit playing really good basketball. So, a lot of things make sense with this top 20. Can be changed very quickly this weekend. I think that it will be changed. Looks at a threat, and Connecticut is looking at threats literally. Kansas team that is going to start a very tough conference play as well. Teams like UCLA and their neighbors. To Utah. So yeah, I had to reference that multiple times that they lost. Look at things, you see 6 teams from the SEC in the top, and pretty well in these preseason tournaments as well too. So there it is. That's our 2023 has to be UConn. UConn has beat everybody by double digits, and they're just playing. And we move forward, and let's go ahead and jump into the Caesars Dome, Superdome. It's the C. It used to be that they had Mercedes-Benz on there for like only a few years, and they changed what I keep saying is a conflict of interest having a sports book stadium. So we have the preview for this game. We got Western people to the stadium tonight. I know Western Kentucky will have a lot of fans, but the D1 bowl game. So this is huge for a school that just weren't really good to start off, but now they're accepting late at the Rose Bowl. They only lost by 1 point, and they lost by a. And then literally the same thing happened in the Troy game. Troy won the Sun Belt. Team had an opportunity to win this game. They got locked up that day and lost to the found themselves last few weeks of the season scoring 31 30. Some of them were hard fought, some of them were blowouts, but all in all, they finished. Teams like this jump into a scenario like this, they usually are the team that's 8-5 against the spread. They're 2-3 against the spread and straight up versus non games. And then they've went over in 5 of those, over 3 times in 5 of those. But this is what works out for them very well against the spread. They're 4-0 conferences. The only time they lost to a non-conference opponent was UCLA. 7 times in those 12 games that they played, and they went over 3 times in paper. Is not really hard to just jump all over S.Bama, and that's exactly what going to have themselves a moment here. They're playing in the biggest stadium they've ever. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's going to be our get back to the screen real quick. Sorry, guys. It's just we kind of it's kind of having a mind of its own right now. So you guys should already know. I'll be right back. We're going to be talking State of the Lakers, and we're going to be talking NBA Wednesday night as well too. And then after that, we get into talking tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
We are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. Let's go ahead. They had no AD. They had no. I don't think Westbrook played. Austin Reeves is starting to grow on me a little bit as well too. He's playing good basketball, but he's no Correa. Good player though. Good player. It's nothing against him being a bad. Lakers come into this one tonight. They want to bounce back. They want to get themselves a nice little win. Sacramento has to understand that they're not quite yet the team that they 12. They were a 10-point favorite going into the game. They were going against a team. Hornets literally had dropped at that point 7. And it wasn't even 7 in a row. It was actually 8 in a row. And then they were able. That's because the Kings started off the game giving up 39. He went ahead and they gave up 2 big quarters to down to it. They just kind of overthought that thing and that they think they are, because I know the NBA is hyping you up and everybody's feeling good about themselves. They have won their last 3 out of 5 after a quick 3-game losing streak this month. The Lakers are not that far behind, say, a team like the Warriors, but the Warriors are the 11th seed. The Lakers are the 12th seed. So what are we bragging about? Absolutely nothing. Both teams are absolutely dreadful. They're both at the bottom of the barrel for the division, but both have 17 losses on the season. But the Lakers lost 113, Golden State's 115. So both these teams are kind of going through are really struggling here in the first few months of the year. But the Lakers, you already knew the Lakers were going to have some issues this year. You didn't expect that coming from the Warriors. But the Lakers, all in all, though, they will need to really figure out a way to step it up, though, against Sacramento, because Sacramento kind of owns the Lakers right now. They've been having their way with the Lakers. And when you look at the Lakers stat sheet for tonight, injury report, it's not a big deal that Toscano Anderson's out. He's not really doing much, but, just being like a celebrity. But AD being out is crucial. It's huge because that's the Lakers leading scorer, but they still have LeBron. And LeBron is averaging 27 a game, and Lonnie Walker is getting his 15. You got Westbrook getting 14 and a half. Then you also have Schroeder adding in 10, and then you have Tommy Bryant adding in his 10 as well. And then you also have a very good look coming from Austin Reeves, who's getting his 10. So that's 30 by itself with that group. So the Lakers have guys that can score outside of their big 3. They do. And that's what makes the Lakers very significant on making a nice little run very soon. I can see that happening. But hopefully they can go ahead and get some things going here tonight in this series and get get people stepping up the right way. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But it looks like this is going to be another really good game for the Lakers tonight. And we can go ahead and say this could be a one that they could win tonight. They got to get a big effort from LeBron, and they got to get a big effort from their role players as well too. I would like to see Westbrook, if he's in the game tonight, I would like to see Westbrook try to get 20 or better. If he can get 20 or better and match LeBron's 25 or 30 that he's going to possibly get tonight, the Lakers should be in good shape to win this game. All right, so there it is. It's the state of the Lakers. Let's go ahead and jump into the NBA. And we do have NBA to be exact, but we got 5 to talk about. So up first, let's go ahead. game of the night as well too. You got two teams that are in the same conference to be exact, and they are chasing each other. Division as well. They do lead by it's about it's about a behind Cleveland, but they have three more losses, and the Bucks have, because the Celtics now are 22-9 after such a great start. I have your Bucks are 7-3 in the month of December. They've won their last two in a row. Against the East, they're 11-4 straight up. Against the Central Division, they did lose to the Bulls, and I know that because I had the Bulls 10-11 on the spread. On the road with the spread, they're 5-6-2. Spread versus the Central, they're 3-2. Now, when it comes to over under, they've won under in 9 out of their 13 games. The Cavs are 7-3 in the league. They're 18-6 as a favorite as well. Also, one of the against their division, they're 4-2. Now, when it comes down to the spread, they are as a favorite. They're 14-8-2 versus the East. They're 11-6-2. And now, when it comes down to the over and under, they went under in 19. So when I look at this one, it's a scoreboard watch because this game will be the spot tonight, and this game will be a national game. As I think that ESPN is kind of tripping tonight with not having this on ESPN, but so pardon me with that. But usually they show NBA on Wednesday night. And let's go ahead and get into our next game, which is going to be the Celtics. Oh, just give it a second, y'all. It's running slow. Just coming in here 15-16. The Celtics are 22-9. You have a on the road straight up, they're 6-9. As an underdog straight up, they're 8-13. Versus the East straight up, they're 10-8. So this team is struggling. And on the road against the spread, they're 8-7. On as an underdog, dog, and then against the spread versus the East, they're 11-7, and then they have went under in 9 times out of their 15 games. So, first of the year, you would have thought they were a team that would give up a lot of, and they've lost their last 4 out of 5 games as well too. After starting the month 3-1, a great start to the year, a great November, and then they've kind of they're 20-9 as a favorite this year. They're 11-4 as a 13 against the spread overall. Now, when it comes down to the spread at home, they're 9 are 9-6 in that category as well too. Now, as a verse under, they've went over in 15 of their 31 games. They're at home where they score a lot of points at. The Celtics come in here. I think that they should dominate tonight. Month, and I think that there is no way out at this point, right? Shellac, because they've dropped their last 4 out of 5. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. All right, so I think Toronto will call the Knicks a rival, and I don't think, because this is Toronto, New York City. You base the Knicks, but the Knicks were a really good team when the Raptors got into the league. Struggling mightily as well too. This team has lost their last 6 in a row. They're 3-12 on the road. They're 3-10 as an underdog. Absolutely awful. They're 1-7, and then when it comes down to 9 as an underdog against the spread, they're 7-6 as an underdog. Now, when it comes down to the over under in their 31 games, they've went over in 6 in 8 of those games. So the Raptors don't really have a middle. So the Knicks coming here very confident right now. The Knicks lost the first game of this. They are 10-3. But versus their division, they've only played 3 games. They're only 1-2, and that's against the 17-12. In their 15 games at home, they're 6-7-2. Against the spread versus their conference, they're 10-6-2. And over under, they down to the over and under at home, they've actually went over in 8 out of their 15 games. Hopefully, we get the call tonight that Spike Lee's not going to be in the house. The new joke in New York. So they literally are like getting tired of Spike doing photo ops with every single star. Spike Lee into the building. And I'll say this as a word of New York Knicks going pretty much just try to keep warm. So all in all, the gotten. All right, so we'll move on to knew I was going to talk about this one, for sure. Right now, so but Warriors net. Man, and then as soon as all right, so I'll talk about it regardless. You guys, we're hoping that could be a championship series this year. I doubt that's going to happen. Because the scariest thing for these top teams in the West is older teams. The Warriors and Lakers might be the most dangerous thing going once they get bottom, because when you look at who's at the top, they can be beat. The Warriors are 4 and month where they were losing games like this, but it hasn't been for because they're not playing well on the road. They got one road. They've been on the road, I think, because that's where all their losses are coming from. So they're 1-4 on the current road trip. They're 3-15 on the road. They're 2-9 as an underdog. They're one versus the East. Now, those first three I called out were all straight up. Now, against the team, against the spread as a dog, they are 4-7. As a road dog, you guys, what's wrong with the Warriors? But they still have a category games they've went over 19 times. And on the road in their 18 games, they've won over. So the Warriors are over machine, and you have the Nets who come in. Remember, they've won 6 in a row. They're 10-5 at home overall. They're 4-6 versus the West straight up. Now against the spread, they're 14-6 against the spread as a favorite. They're 9-11-1 as a home fave against the spread. To over under in their 31 games, they've went under in 17. Against the West, they've played them 10 times. They've went over 6 times against. That is pretty much telling you to take the Warriors, because the Warriors are a plus 12.5 tonight. And yes, you're looking at very. I think what happens here is that you get some lockup defense by the Warriors, and they figure Warriors. And I know I've been dogging them out, but I think tonight is a good night to take them because dog. You haven't seen that since, I would say, so, there it is. There it is. We move forward from Warriors and not the Warriors, but the Mavs and the Wolves. In this game, the Mavs lose the other night to the Wolves. The Wolves too, so that was a good win for them. But all in all, the Mavericks has just been struggling. And I do have the notes here showing that the struggle is real. The Mavs have dropped their last 5 out of 7, including their last 2 games in a row. And they are 3-11 on the road right now. Also 14-10 as a favorite. And then against the spread and straight up, they're 2-6 as a road fave. And versus the West this year, versus the conference, they're 10-6. So that looks really good for them. But being a road team doesn't look good for them. Now, in their 31 games, they've won under 19 times. I'm sorry. In their 31 games, they're 10-19 against the spread, 10-19-2 against the spread. Sorry about that. On the road, they're 5-9, and against the spread as a favorite, one of the worst under in their 31 games. They've went over 18 times. And when it comes 8 times in those 14 games, and when it comes down to the over under versus the West, for the Mavs tonight, and that should be something that they really they've won 3 in a row after a 3-game losing streak. And then they're 3-2 against the spread and straight up as a home dog. They're 13-18, so they're one of the teams that have some issues. A slight edge to the Mavs tonight, who are the road favorite. 7-9 at home against the spread. They're 8-12 against the spread. Position. They've played 31 games, but they've won under in 18 of those games. They're in 12 out of their 20 games versus the West. So when I look at this, feeling this spot tonight with this game is that it winds up being the under, and this like very close in record as well too. So you have that working out for you. Talking tickets. So 1 second, just over here trying to get everything. It's a break, but I just want to get us in the talking tickets like right now because so up first we have the New Orleans Bowl bets. There it goes. We got -4 on S.Bama, and then we have the over 29 first half today as well. And then we also have the S.Bama -150 first quarter. And then we finish up with S.Bama getting over 31 points. So hopefully they go ahead and have themselves a highlight game tonight and we get ourselves 35 points. That's what I'm feeling like that. It finishes up 35-20 tonight. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the PrimeTime PK6 in CBB tonight. We got +11 on Canisius. Then we have Ohio, who's a +120 going against Delaware tonight. We got Colorado at home. I love them with the -12. We got Sanford playing against Belmont. I'm taking them with the +5. You got Georgia Tech playing against Clemson tonight at the Thunderdome, so I'm taking them with the +115. And then you have Auburn playing against Washington tonight. I'm taking them with the 3.5. That's a 62-1 ticket. We missed last night's ticket off of a push. Actually, it did cash. It cashed out at about 28-1, but still, we wanted the 53-1. So pretty much we move forward from there. And we have the CBB Bailout PK4 12-1. That's TCU tonight with the +110. Also, we have ASU with the -3. And we have Tulsa tonight in that spot with the +9.5. That could be a possible upset as well, too. So don't sleep on playing money line there. And then we finish up in the 8 o'clock game, the final game of the night, USC with the -150. So that's where we're going with the Bailout PK6. The first tip-off is at 6 p.m. Pacific time as well, too. And that starts with TCU. And then the next 2 games are at 7. And then the final game is at 8 o'clock. All right, so we have ourselves the NBA Super High Five, and it is at 23-1 tonight. We're going to take the over 216.5 with the Bucks and the Cavs. Then we're going to take the Celtics -10 tonight. A big spread, but I think the Celtics win this game by 15 or better tonight. That's what I'm seeing tonight is that the Celtics absolutely wreck the Pacers because they're not going to slip up like they did against Orlando over the weekend. Then we have the Warriors coming in here at +12.5 tonight. Also, Knicks with the -1. And Wolves. This will give us a ticket that is worth 23-1. So checks out. But all in all, though, another great day, another great and things like that. So pretty much I thank you guys so much as usual. We are just winding down here with the year. Tomorrow we'll be back. Your show as usual for Thursday. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. But and as we get ready for the new year. So with that, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and only Pop DBIC, the primetime capper, and I am gone. All right, I'll try.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.